On behalf of the board, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Hydrix Limited's annual general meeting. My name is Gavin Coote, Chairman of the board. So what is Hydrix's value proposition? In terms of what we do, we are a world-class product design, engineering and regulatory services company. And we are creating market-leading solutions for our clients on groundbreaking technologies. Our ultimate goal around that is to improve lives. The reason we succeed is that we have over 1,000 years of know-how, and it's ultimately around three things. We want to de-risk the development execution for our clients. We want to create market-leading solutions, and we also want to help them accelerate their go-to-market strategies. We have proved over the last 10 to 15 plus years that we can attract and retain some of the best and brightest talent in the engineering space. And ultimately, this creates a unique capability that Hydrix has today. It really differentiates it from other potential competitors in the marketplace. We're about an 80-person company today. 65 to 70 of those people are engaged in deep and core engineering and product development sort of work. Why we succeed, in summary, is that it's our talent and our know-how. How we create value, it's basically on two platforms, and it's a proven business model at the end of the day. The first piece is that by growing scale in our services business, that is leading us to a more profitable outcome. The second part is how do we then take this incredible expertise that we've got and find other ways that we can capture the value that we're ultimately creating. And that's what we've been referring to as our buy, build, invest strategy. And there's a bit more on that a little bit later. So what we do, we improve lives. Why do we succeed? It's through talent and know-how. And how do we create that value? It's through a proven business model. I'm very proud of the teams and the board's work in fiscal 2019. We exceeded all of the milestones that we gave guidance to the market in last year. In recapping those, in addition, what's on the slide there is ultimately we achieved substantial revenue growth and delivered record total revenues in fiscal 19. We reported a maiden cash operating profit for the June quarter. We commenced our buy, build, investment strategy, and we left the business with very strong momentum at the end of the year coming into fiscal 2020. The graphic up there says one really bold statement, and that is since we bought Hydrix as a business, we have grown the revenues, and so we're executing that very strongly. On the right-hand side, in terms of the revenue profile, the revenue today and historically for this business has been in a fee-for-services construct with a client arrangement. All the IP we create, we give back to the client at the end of the day when we don't get to play in any of the upside. So what the management team and the board have been working on over the past 12 to 18 months is how else can we take a look at that value proposition, and we're doing two things. One is coming up with strategic pricing, which is about instead of taking 100% of the payment for our services work in cash on select clients that we think have fabulous long-term opportunities to become a gold standard in the markets they operate, is that we will take a small piece of equity in their company in lieu of the cash payment. The second piece of the expansion of revenue strategy is around how do we then engage in other product revenue initiatives that deliver long-term recurring revenue streams. So how does 2020 look at this stage? It looks strong. And that's on the back of a good level of momentum coming out of fiscal 19. We have three primary milestones this year that we're pursuing and have set into the marketplace as guidance. Revenue growth to exceed 15% year on year, to deliver a 4-year cash operating profit, and to implement one of our buy, build, invest strategies. In terms of how we're progressing on that to date, I'll start up on the right-hand corner. We've really strengthened the balance sheet today, and we've got capital to put to work to support our growth initiatives. We've raised about $7.6 million in the first half through a mix of debt instruments and equity instruments. It's a fantastic endorsement of pure asset management to say we like the leadership team, we like the board, we like the strategy of the company, we believe it's got great strategic execution prospects. And so all the terms that we structured there were on equal or better terms than the shareholder loans that we've been now able to extinguish, which is corporatising the balance sheet. And if you look at the pricing of the warrants, they have an option to basically at one stage or down in the next 4 years is to convert that debt into share position in the company, and we've struck that price with them at 100% to the current premium, 100% premium to the current share price. So it's a great result there for the company. So the balance sheet has been well and truly strengthened. The second part of the progress here is, and we made the announcement today, in support of our growth agenda, we're making some leadership appointments, or have made some leadership appointments. Some have taken effect and some will take effect on the 1st of January. And what's the purpose of those leadership changes? Strengthen up the core services business and execution. 2 is to increase the global business development efforts, larger clients, larger dollar value projects and longer terms. And 3 is to give us some additional capacity to drive our buy, build, invest initiatives. The announcements and the appointments we made today is that Peter Lewis is going to take on a new role in the company of Executive Vice President of Corporate Development. Peter brings 30 plus years of skill, expertise, networks, capabilities to go out and be globally facing and find the sort of profile of clients that we would like to really build Hydrix in this little town here of Mulgrave into a global giant. You know, that's the vision of the company long term. And Peter, there is nobody better on the planet and in this company that can lead that effort better than Peter. And I want to recognise Peter's outstanding leadership and loyalty and commitment over the past couple of years since coming into the business and really being the face of the day-to-day business to help us work through and build what we've got today as a successful company. The second appointment is Michael True. Michael's just up the back there. So Michael's stepping in as the General Manager of the Hydrix Services business. Michael's got a blue chip company pedigree, had spent time at Cochlear and Nanosonics. He's led engineering development teams. He's also taking products from clinical trial all the way through to product commercialisation. So that's going to further strengthen our capacity, capability and know-how there. The third appointment is Mr. Paul Kelly, who's also at the back of the room. Paul brings 35 plus years of cardiac technology expertise into the company. He has built companies. You may be aware of CardioScan. He was the founder and CEO of that company, which was a cardiac monitoring and pathology company. And prior to that, he had represented blue chip companies in distributing pacemakers for Medtronic. He's worked for Baxter Healthcare and Getz, and brings a wealth of experience, knowledge and capability. And he's been instrumental in working with us on our AngelMed Guardian System Buy, Build, Invest initiative, which I'll talk a little bit about more later. The other piece that Paul's joining the company is we've established a medical advisory board. Paul is our first appointee on that. We hope to, as the rest of the financial year progresses, to make a couple of other appointments. The importance and the charter of the medical advisory board is to do a couple of things. One is to bring deep sector expertise to the board, who's operating in a fiduciary capacity, so that we understand the sorts of technologies we're getting involved in and how to best commercialise them. The other fabulous part is that Paul, because he's been a commercial operator, both in a clinical setting and then in a corporate setting, he's able to bring all of that expertise and capability to the leadership and management team in the business and really help navigate us on this pathway to build out capacity and capability beyond just being an engineering company, but actually what does it mean to then try and commercialise a product in the marketplace. So these are three fantastic appointments, and as the fourth part of this is that I'll step into the company as the Executive Chairman to work with Peter and the rest of the management team to continue the journey that is laid before you. There isn't any shift in strategy. There isn't anything else that we're going to go off and suddenly start doing. I've been heavily engaged on the business since joining the board in the March quarter of 2017. I'm deeply inspired by the group of engineers and the talent that's around the table to achieve the sorts of outcomes that we are for our clients. And so we're hoping we can continue to really execute and build the track record that has got a lot of credibility, that we go and do what we say we're going to go and do. And the third part of the progress update here is from a revenue and a cash operating profit. We put out a trading announcement today which affirmed our guidance around strong revenue growth for the full fiscal year. The first half has got us well and truly in line with that. And the second aspect is this target of making the business cash operating profit in the year ahead. So we're on track to deliver that as well. I guess the final part is the fact that we've got capital in the bank to continue to go and execute our strategic initiatives. So the purpose of our buy, build, invest strategy, it's ultimately, as the headline there says, how do we capture more value of what Hydrix creates? And that's what we're pursuing. So you've got your engineering services, business time and materials, build the client for an outcome, and that's it, hand the IP back. So the next start of the journey here, which we've commenced, is how do we then, through some strategic pricing, gain an equity position in a company, or one of our clients. And the other part is where could we potentially seek product level acquisitions that are going to give us that recurring revenue stream. And these are about in sectors that we think we've got expertise in and can leverage our engineering services capability. And the third aspect is how else can we monetize IP through distribution agreements or licensing and royalty arrangements. This sort of an investment and acquisition approach we think will drive great value for the company. One, it'll create recurring product revenue streams and earnings. It will, two, create equity-based earnings upside for some of the IP we create that rests with our clients. And three, this idea of vertical integration that ultimately gives us a greater value proposition for our clients. That is, we can help them engineer the brains of the device that they are building. But now, as we progress the business, we'll understand the pathology of the patient for the device that they're trying to bring to market and who is the clinical advisor in that program. So what we can do is reinforce our sector expertise, both from the engineering all the way through to helping our clients commercialise technologies. And the part of the difference in the future is we'll be doing that for some of our own products and technologies as well. What's an example of what we're pursuing, the types of examples? So you will have seen an announcement in July that we'd entered into a multi-million-dollar services contract with AngelMed for some design and engineering and regulatory services work. Later in October, we announced a conditional agreement to acquire distribution rights for AngelMed in 8 countries in Asia Pacific to distribute their device and to seek to gain a small equity position in the company that will also leverage us to the upside of their successes down the track. As you can see on the bottom bullet point there, the strategic outcome here is, and when we talk about that vertical integration, is exactly that. It leverages our core services business. It creates or has the potential to create annuity product revenues, and it also gives us the potential for equity upside. And this is in an area where we have deep cardiac technology expertise. So what is the Guardian device? You know, Peter asked the question before about people that we may know that have had a stroke. There's certainly a lot of people that we know have had the misfortune of having a heart attack. The Guardian device is the world's first FDA-approved implantable heart attack alert system. It basically monitors the heartbeat over a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week on a basis, and based on the change in that heartbeat, can alert a patient within minutes that it's an indicative change in the heartbeat that they're about to have a heart attack. 14% of the world's population suffers from cardiovascular disease. Half of heart attacks, actually, the patient has no symptoms, what's called a silent heart attack. And other symptoms that a patient has may be asymptomatic is that it's not easily recognisable that they're about to have a heart attack. So what's the upshot here? So this is, why are we interested? Well, this is a unique product that we believe, and the company AngelMed themselves absolutely believe, satisfies an unmet need in the marketplace. It will ultimately improve the quality of life and outcome for a patient, and it will lower the economic costs in the healthcare system, which is basically going to create an enormous benefit all round from patient and through the rest of the healthcare system. The company has achieved in the first generation device FDA approval, which it did last year. It has most recently, that is AngelMed, made a commercial decision to upgrade the battery component of the device for the benefit of the patient. The battery life will be more than double of the version that was approved by the FDA, which means the patient will end up with the requirement of having less surgeries to replace the device at some stage down the track. And they're working with the FDA at the moment to get that new battery approved, and we'll keep the market update as to how that all unpacks into the new year. So, in summary, that's the sort of thing when we talk about how can we create a platform to capture more value that Hydrix creates. This is the sort of unique asset investment that we're looking to pursue. So in wrapping up here, Hydrix is at a compelling inflection point. We continue our vision to become a leading global technology and engineering company, one that is bringing to bear groundbreaking technologies. We've got world-class talent and know-how. We've got a strengthened balance sheet. We've got strong revenue growth. And our buy, build, invest platform is a platform which will create an ability for us to capture more value, and ultimately, through revenue growth and earnings growth, we would expect to see that translate into a much stronger market valuation for the company.